we're going to do a quick nut butter review just so you know what to shop for. Peanut butters, almond butters, cashew butters, whatever you see typically on a basic grocery shelf. So like right now, I'm at Walmart because they have a nice decent selection and it's practical. Okay, so the first thing that I want to dive into are going to be peanut butters. Peanuts are legumes. People are going to bag on them saying that they're a terrible omega-6 profile and they have all these negative things to say about the fats with peanut butter. I don't necessarily believe all of that to be true, because with peanut butter, yes, you have a high omega-6 profile. It's usually just how over-processed they are. So if you're going for peanut butter, I do recommend you try to opt for organic peanut butter. It doesn't mean you eat a bunch of it, because obviously it's calorically dense. But one of the things that I really want to drive home is that just because something is an omega-6 doesn't automatically make it bad. Okay, in our bodies, it's all about balancing that out with proper omega-3s. So I'm just starting this out because I love peanut butter. I want people to enjoy their peanut butter, but if you're going to have it, it comes at a little bit of a price where you really should be trying to get as much omega-3s as you can to sort of counteract it, okay? Omega-6s still have a role within our body, so I wanted to get that out in the open. So now that we know peanut butter's somewhat okay, let's go and take a look at what we've got. Now, the big elephant in the room, when you look at regular peanut butter, the reason I don't want this on keto, okay, we've got the main thing, hydrogenated vegetable oil. That's the biggest problem, even bigger than the sugar. I don't like the sugar, but the hydrogenated oil is exactly what we are trying to avoid. Okay, that is where they take the non-saturated fats from the vegetable oil and they artificially, in a lab, make them saturated. So that's why you don't have to stir it, because the saturated fat is man-made. You might be thinking, why is that such a big deal? Well, there are numerous studies that show that in mice, but also in other settings, okay, right? I have to full disclaimer on that in the studies. We see, wait a minute, hydrogenated fats do contribute to what's called visceral fat. Visceral fat that's the pot belly stuff. That's the stuff you can't see, okay? Underneath like around your organs, underneath your belly, protruding things out. But it's also metabolically active, very, very dangerous stuff. We do not want high levels of visceral fat. Okay, lots of evidence demonstrating that. So avoid the hydrogenated. Rule number one on any of these, whether they're almond butters, peanut butters. But then we get into, okay, well, let's just jump over here to the reduced fat stuff really quick. Okay, with the honey, do not get the one with the honey. If you're not doing keto and you just like to have your peanut butter sweet, sweeten it with some monk fruit, okay? Do not get the honey. It's probably not real honey anyway. And the last thing you need to be doing is combining high levels of fat along with carbohydrates. But then when you look at the reduced fat, you're reducing some calories, but look how much sugar you're getting. Okay, so you got 12 grams of you got 14 grams of carbs now, 4 grams of added sugar compared to, well, 3 grams. I guess it's not as bad as I would have thought. But look here's what's wild. There's reduced fat, but 180 calories, 190 calories in the reduced fat. What's going on here, right? Because they're compensating it with carbohydrates, they're compensating it with sugar, and it's really not that much reduced fat. 12 grams of fat, 15 grams of fat. Okay, so we're talking a tiny, negligible amount, and you're also paying a premium for it too. So I would not really worry about that. Now we need to talk about kind of the ones that are labeled as natural, because they are a step up. They absolutely are. Okay, so when we look at peanut butters, we see, oh, in this case, we have roasted peanuts, sugar, palm oil, and salt. Okay, there's no hydrogenated. That's a huge plus. Like if you're on a budget, at least go for the Skippy Naturals. At least go for that, right? But we have another issue at play. Why are they adding palm oil? Why do we need added fats? Well, they're adding the palm oil because they don't have the hydrogenated fats. Palm oil is better, but it's not sustainable. Okay, so first of all, it's terrible for the environment, but let's get that aside. Super rich in what is called palmitic acid, which is the one saturated fat that does have some evidence against it. Okay, so I would just be careful of that, especially when there's other peanut butter options. Okay, so let's take a look at what else there might be. So in this case, we see, oh, another natural one. This is cool. Natural peanut butter, natural peanut butter spread. Okay, what's so cool about this? Then we got peanuts, sugar, and palm oil. So you see what's going on? We've just replaced the hydrogenated with the palm oil, which is better, but then we still have the sugar in there. So in the ideal world, we would need a natural, no sugar added. So we do have those, but we start getting into the much more expensive stuff. Like, get this, sugar, no salt added, but we go up quite a bit in price. And it's organic. Check out the ingredients of this one. Organic peanuts and palm oil. So palm oil, again, we can accept it, we can use it, but when we're looking for peanut butter, we need to get as close to the root as we can. So we have this organic great value. This is organic dry roasted peanuts, okay, and sea salt. And you always want dry roasted, right? Because sometimes what will happen is they'll roast them in different oils, and then you're just soaking up all kinds of denatured fats at high heat, right? These fats are not designed to be exposed to high heat. Peanut oil is actually decently tolerant at high heat, but you don't need extra fats added in, okay? That can just mess things up. So I do like this one, and it's organic, okay? Then we get into the same thing here with the DeLauer scooters, okay? This is not organic, but at least the only ingredient is peanuts. So I guess I could have really made this a lot shorter by just saying, hey, just get ones that just have peanuts. But I wanted to give you a hierarchy. Peanuts with palm oil, decent. Peanuts with palm oil and sugar, not nearly as good. Peanuts with hydrogenated fats, avoid altogether. And I do want to say after this video, like for anything that you're looking in terms of just a different eating pattern, like a healthier eating pattern, I would definitely recommend today's video sponsor, which is Thrive Market. So I put a link down below to Thrive Market. They're an online membership-based grocery store. So for a lot of the things that I talk about, like pantry staples, things like that, you can check them out. So I went ahead, there's a link down below that'll save you 25% off your initial order, okay? Plus, you'll also get a free gift when you use that link. So Thrive Market, you can log on, you can filter by keto, filter by paleo, by vegan, whatever. You can filter by baking. There's so many filters, it makes it so that you can just find whatever you want really easily all in one place. So again, they're today's sponsor. They're awesome, and that link is down below, and you can save 25% off that first order. So check them out. They're just awesome. Okay, let's jump into almond butters for a second. It's funny because when you compare the omega-3, omega-6 ratio of peanuts to almond butter, almonds are not much better. They're a hair better, but we're still in the same omega-6 issue. So why are almond butters so much more popular than peanut butters as a healthy option? Well, probably because almonds have a little bit more in the way of fiber. Okay, so they're a lower net carb content. Okay, so we definitely have that going for us. But when you look at ones like Maranatha, I just want you to be extra careful. This goes without saying, but once again, almonds, evaporated cane sugar, palm oil, and sea salt. Okay, and the same kind of thing, even when we get to the no sugar salt added, we still have to be paying attention. Almonds and palm oil. So palmitic acid, it's just not the ideal fat to be adding in. If I was making the perfect almond butter, I would reinforce it with coconut oil, or I'd reinforce it with perhaps even avocado oil. And I did notice that Maranatha took an almond butter and combined it with coconut, but they still have the palm oil, dry roasted almonds, creamed coconut, cane sugar in there. They probably could have done without the palm oil. The coconut would have provided enough thickness. So like a coconut almond would be perfect. Okay. It's almost better in some ways to opt for like this peanut butter than it would be to opt for this almond butter. It's kind of funny. Okay, now no sugar, no salt added, Walmart brand creamy almond butter. Also almonds and palm oil. So I don't see any one, yeah, that one's got sugar in it. Don't see any one that is exactly like what I would 100% prefer. Actually, we have this one. Let's see, what's Barney? Bare Smooth Almond Butter. Okay, in this we still have palm fruit oil. See? So it's really hard to avoid. It's not the end of the world. Like I don't think it's a terrible thing. I just want you to be cognizant of the fact that there is palm oil in this stuff. And again, if you can find one with just straight up almonds, that's going to be the best. Nutso has these different ones that are peanut butter blends along with different nuts and seeds, right? So like this one, we have peanuts, add some cashews, some Brazil nuts, flax seeds, which I love to see. So this is a really good product. And you see there's no weird added oils in that. We're just talking straight up peanuts, cashews, almonds, Brazil nuts. I wish the cashews weren't in there. I'm not a fan of cashews. And you'll notice like, I don't even want to talk about the cashew butter because cashews are they're so high in carbohydrates. It's such a higher carbohydrate nut that it makes the nut butters very high in carbs, but also very high in what's called phytic acid, which we have to pay attention to. Phytic acid can chelate additional minerals in the gut, meaning it's harder and harder to absorb the minerals that you are consuming from other good foods. That's a heavy, real thing, okay? And not only do cashews have a high carb count going for them, they also have that high phytic acid content, which makes them just, it's hard for me to consciously recommend a lot of cashews in that case. Now, these are more expensive options, obviously, but I do like the fact that like there's walnut butter here, but we still have palm oil. So we're seeing a common recurring theme. It doesn't mean that it's bad though. I can't get that across the most. I'm just saying in the ideal world, it would just be pureed walnuts. Here's sea salt. Ooh, this one looks good. So the nice thing about walnuts, higher omega-3 profile. So definitely good in that respect. Also a pretty nice fiber content. So we always have to look at that. Okay, total carbs, 4, fiber, 2. That's leaving us with 2 grams of net carbs. So yes, we play that into the equation. Compare that to, say, a no sugar salt almond butter. We have 6 grams, actually still good, 6 grams, 4 grams of fiber. But now, here's the one that people talk about a lot, sunflower butter. Now this one I know for a fact, this one has some sugar in it. Okay, but I do like that it's just roasted sunflower seeds. People are gonna say their thing. They're gonna say, but we don't, more sunflower seeds, it's still more omega-6s. Stop beating yourself up over that. Okay, sunflower oil that's used just constantly in processed foods, you know, that's getting a little bit old. But when you're talking about straight up sunflower seeds pureed into a butter, I'm not really that opposed to it. Sunflower seed butter has a really nice taste. What I would recommend as like kind of a nugget as a takeaway here, all these different things, you really should rotate through them. Okay, eventually your body can start to develop antibodies if you are potentially consuming a lot of the same thing, right? Your body, you consume the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. Your body can start to get a little bit of resistance to it. So it's always good to rotate your foods. Plus it's good for your microbiome, right? There's different fibers in this than there are in this. And there's different fibers in this than there are in this, right? Now, that case, let's get it to probably the best thing that you could find. It doesn't taste like, yep, look at roasted, peeled, organic sesame seeds. This is called tahini. Okay, what's interesting, people again are gonna say high omega-6 profile. Do I need to be careful of it? Tahini is an exception, especially to that rule, because of the particular antioxidants that it has in it. Sesamin, sesamolin, things like that. What those do is they protect those fats from denaturing. The biggest issue outside of the omega-3, omega-6 profile with all this stuff is the oxidation of those fats. Okay, when you have these fats and they're sitting on the shelf, that's when you run into a problem with them oxidizing. And when I say oxidizing, it means that they go through lipid peroxidation. The fats actually kind of break down and change chemical structure, turning them into what is called a reactive oxygen species. That means that your body has to upregulate antioxidant production to deal with that. Okay, so it becomes what is called an oxidative stressor. Okay, it's triggering oxidative stress within your body. Doesn't mean it's magically happening. There's no way for us to tell without actually taking the oils off the shelves, sending them to a lab, all of these, and seeing which ones are which. And guess what? We're gonna find that this one may be different from this particular bottle because one's been on the shelf longer than the other. So we can't beat ourselves up over that. But I will say tahini is an amazing, amazing butter to use. And if you've ever tried having toast with tahini or keto toast with tahini or making a sandwich with it, tahini and fruit, tahini and jelly, that is a phenomenal taste. And you can still get a lot of it done without having to have the craziness of, well, that stuff, the peanut butter, right? You know what? Let me tell you right now, they don't have it here, but macadamia nut butter is probably going to be one of the best ones you can have. Coconut butter is going to be one of the best ones that you can have. Brazil nut butter, if you can find it, rich in selenium. Hazelnut butter, also tremendous because of the soluble fiber that's in it. So we have to look at this big picture, right? A lot of the stuff that's not on the shelves here would be stuff that we would want to get. But when you look at what's available and what we should be getting, just when we're going to a regular grocery haul, and I know that everybody likes their peanut butter, at least now you know how to shop that. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.